Misha, we know you're a brand new mom. Give us an idea kind of how motherhood is treating you and what life is like for you these days.
Motherhood has forced me to totally reorganize my life and change things. I used to be such a spur of the moment person, and I realize now I have a baby and I have to really plan things and think things through and have a diaper bag, and I'm really responsible for this whole other little person. So it's given me a whole new perspective and such a respect for parents and, obviously mothers. Every mother who's done this before me has my complete admiration because it's not easy. I think that if motherhood was easy, it would be called fatherhood. I'm just kidding.
That's great.
I can agree with that.
You should get smart about it. What does it mean for you professionally? I mean, you were such a busy person. I mean, even though you retired from MMA competition, still training, managing fighters, the Sirius XM show, podcast. I mean, you were doing so many things. So what does it mean for you professionally and for fans? I mean, are you going to have to pull back a little bit, or what's it going to mean for you moving forward?
Professionally, for me, I think it may have helped because it's forced me to become more organized, so that's really good. The other part of it, though, is just having a lot more on my plate. Obviously, some things have to go, and Maya is going to replace some of those responsibilities. So I still have my Sirius XM radio show that I do every Wednesday, and sometimes I pick up those pre-fight shows on Saturdays, and I'm loving that. I'm having a blast. The podcast has been cut. That's one of those things that didn't make the cut. So, and I'm still doing appearances and whatnot, but just more strategic. Those out of the country appearances are probably going to be fewer and farther between. But hey, what's great is that I live in Las Vegas, and there's a lot of events that do come here. So any of those I'll probably be looking to participate in.
How about training? I mean, obviously very early on, I know it's tough, but do you still see training, active martial arts training as part of your life moving forward?
I definitely see training as a part of my life moving forward. There's no way that I could just let that go. It's just been such a big part of my life since I would say 15 years old is when I started wrestling. So I'm anxious to get back. I'm not quite there, but I'm really close. I'm working out, but I just haven't got back actually on the mat. I think I want to start with some drilling and then work into grappling, and I would like to compete in some grappling competitions of some sort.
I was going to ask, you always said, I think I'll still do competitive grappling. Do you believe that's still on the rise? I mean, how far out do you see that as I could get back there and do a competition?
I think I could do a competition within 6 months. I don't think that would be too much of a problem. I stayed really active and busy throughout the pregnancy. I was hitting mitts with my former striking coach, the one I won my world title with, Jimmy Gifford, past my due date. I was 9 months pregnant and in there hitting mitts. So, it's not too far out of reach for me to, get back in shape and start competing.
You're still very much involved in MMA. I mean, as you said, the radio show, the pre-fight shows. I mean, when you're talking about these fights and going to these fights, and is there ever a time where you miss it that you say, I wish I had maybe one more go or get in there? Because we see people walk away and then say, I miss it. I got to get back in there one more time.
Sometimes when I watch it in the heat of the moment, it's like, it would be great if I could just go back in there. But the thing is all the work and training, it's like if you could just show up and fight, I would probably do it. But to have to go through the whole training camp, the dieting, and the politics of everything, it gets crazy, and the sport has changed. I don't know if it's for the better or for the worse, but it's definitely much different than when I started. And for me, I don't have that same calling that I did, in the forefront of when I started this all. So things have changed, and I think where my passion really lies now is with my family and with my daughter, and so I think the grappling should suffice that competitive nature I have.
You're still a very public figure, but at the height, you were one of the biggest superstars in the sport. Is it hard to replace that feeling, I guess, the attention? Do you almost welcome being away from the spotlight, or is it hard to not have maybe as much around you? How do you balance that?
I really welcome not being as much in the spotlight. I love my fans, and I think that they're great, but there's definitely a room for just having your personal life be personal. You know, I know that a lot of this past couple years hasn't been out on social media, and people are very confused of the fact that, you know, I have a baby now and with Johnny, and you know, some people still haven't figured it out, but it's just, I haven't put everything out on social media, you know, and that's actually a really good feeling. Maybe some people should, you know, take a tip from that. I think it's a good way to keep your personal and private life a little bit off social media, because realistically, not everybody needs to be in the middle of your business, and that's just kind of how I've decided that I want to live my life. What I want to share is what I want to share, and you know, if I'm not letting everybody in on everything, I think that's okay.
So what do you see for yourself moving forward as far as the goals for your life? I mean, obviously you said family becomes a priority, but you still got to have a job, still got to make money. I mean, is it just the analyst work? Are you seeing other avenues of MMA, or even maybe outside the sport that you want to do? What do you see for the future of Miesha Tate?
Well, for the future of Miesha Tate, the future of myself, talking about myself in the third person, what I see for the future is obviously continuing to build a relationship with SiriusXM, you know, possibly doing more analyst work. But I got to put everything on that weigh scale, and family is going to come first. So I'm in a really good position financially, you know, having fought with the UFC. I'm not, you know, hurting for money by any means. I own my house, I own my car, and I don't see that really changing. So I'm just going to continue to live life the way I do it, and you know, still do appearances and, you know, travel around. She's going to be my little travel bug. You know, she was in like 7 different countries just in my belly, you know, so we're still going to travel quite a bit. We'll probably even do some appearances overseas, but it's just, we got to do it strategically and get her passport and make sure she's ready for all the hoopla that's going to follow.